Hi, welcome to the Gemara on Daf Bet Amud Bet, going through Gimel Amud Aleph. We're starting 3 lines up from the bottom of the page on Bet Amud Bet. Ve'amar Rabbi Yirmiyah ve'itema Rabbi Chia bar Abba. Rabbi Yirmiyah said, or some say it was Rabbi Chia bar Abba. This is our theme right now. This is what keeps happening. It was either Rabbi Yirmiyah or Rabbi Chia bar Abba who said the following: Minatzpach tzofim amru. Minatzpach, those letters, each of which has a form for appearing in the middle of the word and a sofit form, were said by the Nevi'im, meaning the Nevi'im are the ones who determined where the sofiot should be put. V'tizbara? Question mark, exclamation point. Can you really think this? The haktiv, but doesn't it say in Vayikra, Ela hamitzvot? These are the mitzvot. And the continuation of this verse talks about these are the mitzvot that God commanded to Moshe. So the Gemara says, Ela ha-mitzvot she'ein navi rashai lechadesh davar me'ata. These are the mitzvot that a navi is not allowed to do anything new with starting from this time. So we would not think that Nevi'im would be allowed to kind of mess with the text of the Torah. The Ode, and here's another proof that it couldn't have been the Nevi'im who did this. Ha'amar Rav Chisda, didn't Rav Chisda say, Mem v'samech shebeluchot benes hayu omdim? The mem and the samech of the luchot were standing through a miracle. It was miraculous that they stood, meaning they were in the luchot. The luchot, it was carved such that the letters were cut through. A samech was miraculous because, as you can see here, it meant that just the donut hole in the middle was standing. And a mem was miraculous, but it was the mem sofit that was miraculous because the mem sofit is the other donut-shaped letter. So that also proves that the sofiot existed even before the time of the Nevi'im, from the time of Moshe. Yes, it's true, mahava havu, they were there already. They were there from the time of Moshe. V'lo havu yadei hai ba'emtza teva v'hai b'sof teva. But they didn't know they didn't know which ones went in the middle of a word and which ones went at the end of the word. In other words, there were sofiot and there were regular letters, but they were sort of all mixed up. V'atu tzofim v'takinu ptuchin be'emtza teva v'stumin b'sof teva. And the Nevi'im came, atu is to come, the Nevi'im came and fixed it and instituted the fact that the open letters would be in the middle of the word and the closed letters, the sofiot, would be at the end of the word. Sof sof ela hamitzvot she'ein navi atid lechadesh davar me'ata. At the end of the day, sof sof, right, at the very end, nonetheless, I would add in the word nonetheless, ela hamitzvot, these are the mitzvot that a navi is not allowed to do anything new with. In other words, the Gemara is not comfortable with this answer. Nonetheless, this seems like a chidush that the Nevi'im instituted, and the Nevi'im aren't allowed to institute chidushim. Ela shchachum v'chazru v'yasdum. Rather, they forgot them, and they came back and instituted them. In other words, this information about the sofiot did exist from the time of the giving of the Torah, but it had been forgotten, and so the Nevi'im were the ones who reinstituted this knowledge. That's the solution to that problem. Here's another statement. V'amar Rabbi Yirmiyah v'itema Rabbi Chia bar Abba. So Rabbi Yirmiyah said, or maybe it was Rabbi Chia bar Abba, Targum shel Torah onkos hager amro, mipi Rabbi Eliezer v'Rabbi Yoshua. The translation of the Torah, the Aramaic translation of the Torah, was said by Onkos the convert. He heard it from Rabbi Eliezer and Rabbi Yoshua. Targum shel Nevi'im Yonatan ben Uziel amro, mipi Chagai Zachariah Malachi. The Aramaic translation of Nevi'im was said by Yonatan ben Uziel, based on what he heard from Chagai Zachariah Malachi, 3 Nevi'im. V'nizda'azeh, this should be a comma, V'nizda'azeh Eretz Yisrael arba me'ot parsa al arba me'ot parsa. And the land of Israel shook 400 parsaot by 400 parsaot, a great distance. There was like an earthquake. Yatzda bat kol ve'amra, a heavenly voice came out and said, Mihu zeh shegilas darai livnei adam. Who is this who has revealed my secrets to humankind? Amad Yonatan ben Uziel al raglav ve'amar. Yonatan ben Uziel stood up on his feet and said, Anihu shigiliti starecha livnei adam. I am the one who revealed your secrets to humankind. Galui v'yadua lefanecha. It is known, it is clear and known before you. Shelo lichvodi asiti. That I did not do this for my honor. V'lo lichvod beit Abba. And not for the honor of my father's house. Ela lichvodcha asiti. Rather, I did it for your honor, God. Shelo yirbu machloket b'Yisrael. So that disagreements will not proliferate within Israel. Ve'od bikesh legalot targum shel ktuvim. He further wished to reveal the Aramaic translation of ktuvim. Yatzda bat kol ve'amra lo. A heavenly voice came out and said to him, Dayeka. Enough. It's enough for you, meaning stop. My taima. What's the reason? Meaning, what's the reason God wouldn't let him translate Ktuvim? Mishum de'it be'ketz Mashiach. Because it contains within it, the date of the coming of Mashiach. V'targum shel Torah Unkos Hager Amro. Is it really true that Unkos, the convert, was the one who gave us the Aramaic Targum? V'ha Amar Rav Ika bar Avin Amar Rav Chananel Amar Rav. Mai dichtiv Vayikaru b'sefer Torat Elokim Mefarash v'som sechel ve'avinu b'mikra. So Rav Ika bar Avin said in the name of Rav Chananel, who said in the name of Rav, what does it mean that which is written in Nehemiah? Here's the pasuk. They read in the book of the law of God clearly that which was explained, and they gave it sense, and they understood the mikra. They understood the words. I'll put that in yellow since it's a pasuk. So now the Gemara is going to explain that verse piece by piece. That's the question mark. My dichtiv introduces a question. So, Vayikru b'sefer Torah Elokim, that they read in God's Torah. Ze mikra, that's the verses themselves. Mifarash, what does that word mean? Ze targum, that's the Aramaic translation. V'som sechal, that phrase about understanding the sense or giving it its sense, elo hapsukin, those are the pasuk breaks, right? That's them figuring out where to put the periods. Vayavinu b'mikra, and that phrase vayavinu b'mikra, understanding, elu piskei ta'amim, that refers to putting in the notes, the musical notes. V'amrila, and some say elu hamisoret. Others say vayavinu b'mikra means the Masoretic notes, the notes about how to read certain things versus how to write them. So, in other words, this objection is saying that actually this happened already in the time of the book of Nehemiah, and it wasn't Unkos who did it at all, because Targum is already implied in the pasuk. Mifarash means Targum. So the answer is Shchachum v'chazru v'yastum. That's the resolution. No, they had forgotten it, and Unkos came and brought it back. He returned and he reestablished it. Now the Gemara has a different question about the story. Maishna deoraita delo is da'azea, ve'ad nevi'eh is da'azea. What's the difference between the Torah, in which the ground did not shake, lo is da'azea, didn't shake, and the Nevi'im, in which it did shake? If you look above at the story, you'll remember the earthquake only happened after he translated Nevi'im into Aramaic. Deoraita mefarshim milta. De Nevi'eh ika mile de mefarshan v'ika mile de mistaman. The Torah is clear. The words are understood. Nevi'im, there are some things which are understood and some things which are closed, which are not understood, not meant to be understood, apparently. Dichtiv, as it is written in Zechariah, Bayom hahu yigzal hamisped b'Yerushalayim k'misped hadad rimon bebikat Megidon. So this verse says, on that day, the eulogy became very great in Yerushalayim, like the eulogy of Hadad Rimon in the valley of Megidon. The Amar Rav Yosef, and Rav Yosef said, Ilmale targuma dahai kral lo yadana mai ka'amar. Were it not for the Targum, for the Aramaic translation of that pasuk, lo yadana, I wouldn't know what it is saying. In other words, this pasuk is very hard to understand, and it seems that the pasuk is hard to understand because it's not clear what it's referring to. We don't know about this story of Hadad Rimon and Bigat Megidon. We don't really know what that's talking about. Rav Yosef said he wouldn't understand it had it not been for the Targum, which translates it as follows: Bayoma hahu yaske mispara b'Yerushalayim k'mispara da'achav bar Amri dekatal yate Hadad Rimon ben Tarimon b'Ramot Gilad k'mispara d'Yoshia bar Amon dekatal yate Paro chagira b'Bigat Megiddo. Even without understanding those words, you can see that it's a lot longer than the pasuk that it translates. So it says roughly, on that day, the eulogy in Yerushalayim became very great, or grew like the eulogy of Achav, the son of Omri, who killed Hadad Rimon ben Tavrimon in Ramot Gilad, and like the eulogy of Yoshia bar Amon, who killed Paro Chagira in Bigat Megiddo. So it has a lot of extra characters, and this explains the story to Rav Yosef. Now the Gemara has a different pasuk to talk about. A pasuk in Daniel. I'll stop and put this in yellow. This pasuk. So here's the pasuk in Daniel. V'ra'iti ani Daniel avadi et hamar'eh v'ha'anashim asher hayu imo lo ro'u et hamar'eh. So I, Daniel, only I saw this vision, and the people who were with me did not see the vision. But nonetheless, they became very frightened, and they ran away to hide. Put that in yellow also. Man ninhu anashim. Who are these people? Amar Rabbi Yirmiyah v'item Rabbi Chia bar Abba. So now you know why we're talking about this pasuk in Daniel, because it's something else that was said either by Rabbi Yirmiyah or Rabbi Chia bar Abba. Zeh Chagai Zachariah Malachi. These people who were with Daniel are Chagai Zachariah Malachi. Also ties into the previous story. The same people who gave the Targum of Nevi'im to Yonatan ben Uziel, these are the people who were with Daniel, and these are the people who didn't see what he saw, but nonetheless were afraid. Inhu adif minei, v'ihu adif minaihu. So they are better than him, and he is better than them, meaning they each have advantages. Inhu adif minei, they are greater than he is, to inhu nevi'eh, v'ihu lav nevi, because they are nevi'im, and he's not a nevi. Ihu adif minaihu, but he is greater than them, to ihu chaza v'inhu lo chazu, because he saw and they did not see. V'chima achar de lo chazu, mai tama abitu. Since they did not see, what's the reason that they were afraid? Afal gav to inhu lo chazu, mazlaihu chazu. Even though they themselves didn't see whatever this vision was, their mazalot saw, their souls, their sort of angelic representations, something of their non-physical being, did see. Amar Ravina says, Shma mina haiman mibayit, afal gav ihu lo chaze, mazlai chaze. So we learn from here, Shma mina, learn from this, that when a person fears, even though he doesn't see something, his mazal has seen something. Mai takhante, what's the remedy? What's the fix for this? Likre kriyat shma. He should read Shma as a way of warding off whatever this is. V'ikayim b'makom hatinofet, and if he is standing in a place of filth, linshof miduchte arba garmide. He should jump, or he should move from his place for arm's length. V'ilo, and if not, meaning if he can't move that distance, lema, then he should say, Hachi iza debeit habche shmina minai. The goat in the butcher's house is fatter than I am. and we discussed in class at length what that means, but it seems like some kind of saying that was meant to ward off whatever bad thing could be happening. We'll stop there. The next video picks up with the next section of the Gemara.